Hello, everyone. I have maybe the most important video I've ever made coming up to you right now. Right now, baby. Woohoo! A Nightmare on Elm Street. The reboot. Can we believe it? Wait. Hello? Can we believe it? Okay, so this is the most important video I've ever made. A, because I'm a horror fan. B, because I think I can revitalize this series, reboot it, and make it, topical, modernize it, make it engaging and interesting for all the kids, all the teens out there. You know what I'm saying? Just try still into horror and everything, right? I mean, come on. Thank you, guys. All right, silence. Am I right? Silence. Notice I'm very high energy for this one. It's a new thing I'm trying. So here's my pitch, right? This is my pitch for the new Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street, A Nightmare on Elm Street, right? I'm doing the whole, Halloween 2018 was just called Halloween thing. That's what every movie does nowadays. It is just called It. Child's Play is just called Child's Play. Really, it's just, you get the idea that they are just trying to pump these out as quick as possible. They don't care. They don't mind if they're forgotten in a week, right? That's why they're just using the same names over and over again. Just trying to recall that nostalgia so it gets you to buy a ticket. But this is actually going to be good. So, okay. I can, I'm feeling the excitement here. Okay, this is a black screen. You're experiencing this for the first time. I've, of course, designed this. And I'm going to press the right arrow now, and you're going to see exactly what I'm working with. So first, we're going to hit the intro. We're going to hit the story. Actors, that's important, right? Gags, of course, arguably the most important part of the entire movies is the gags, right? Because that's the only anybody watches at a certain point in the series. And then any sequel possibilities, of course. That's what's really going to bring me the big bucks. Ooh, who's that? Freddy? I think I heard a crew member at the end there saying like cut or something. So first we're going to get into the story, right? Story. Okay. Now listen closely here. This is going to be very important. Nobody cares. If there's one thing that's true about this series, the story does not matter whatsoever. Of course, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I want this to be narratively rich. So the story, nobody cares. Just kidding. Freddy comes back. If you remember in the, I think, fourth movie, Freddy pees. No, sorry, not Freddy. What am I thinking? Sorry, guys. Oh, a dog pees fire on Freddy's grave and he returns to life. So that's kind of what we're working with here. Basically, he comes back. It doesn't matter how. Really doesn't matter. I didn't even look into fleshing that part of the story out. But now I'll move on to the important part, which is actually the actors. Actors, right? Okay, there it is. So, Robert Englund himself, this is interesting to me, suggested Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is, of course, elderly. Oh, sorry, there he is. Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is elderly at this point. He's about 6'7". That's another again, like I mentioned before, meme potential, right? 6'7". So maybe if you cast him, that's kind of like a good thing. But he is good. I just don't know how much he can move anymore. I did see him in Maxine. It seemed like he still had a little pep in his step there, but maybe that was AI. This is a sleeper. Most of these are coming from me. Okay, so Coleman Domingo. You might remember him from The Running Man this year, as well as Euphoria, among many other works in theater, television, movies. I think he kind of brings that bombasticity. He's also not the youngest guy in the world, but I think he has that kind of experience and maturity. And he was in a previous successful horror franchise, Candyman, right? So, bringing him in, maybe giving that theatrical flair, the voice especially, is really going to be key here. And who's that? I'm expecting nothing from this really. I just throw myself in there just to see, you know what I mean? Because, obviously I do an amazing Freddy impression. I think I'd be perfect for it. I'm pretty short, kind of like Robert Englund was. But, just kind of throwing my hat in the ring. Speaking of hats, of course, just kind of giving you an idea of what we might look like in the traditional Freddy garb. But of course, the big question is, hey, what about me? What about Robert Englund, right? He's still around. He's still kicking. He was in Stranger Things season 4, 2, 3, 5 years ago. We definitely need to include him in there. Perhaps he would appear as Freddy in the beginning, right? So here, picture this. Freddy's kind of sitting there, right? He's like, Freddy, oh, they're taking they're taking the melatonin. They don't dream anymore, right? And then something happens. He gets kind of revitalized. He's like, I have to modernize. And then, he does a little, Linda Carter, Wonder Woman kind of spins around. And suddenly it's Coleman Domingo or me, and then we're like, he says, new look. So I think that could probably work. And then, of course, put the hat on him. Respect. And then for, the rest of the cast of teens, just get some teens, whatever, who cares. The gags. This is the important part, right? This is what everybody's going to be watching the movies for. And I just want to say this, first of all, if you cast me, or am I a director, writer as well, there will be no CGI involved in the making of these gags. I think we really need to get back to our roots, make things as real as possible, as frightening and visceral, and, kind of like bring back that nostalgia, but not in a bad way, right? Where we're like, okay, look, this is how movies used to be made when movies were actually good. So first of all, and I'm kind of going from a creative standpoint here. You actually can't hear it. Let me. So the first thing I was thinking, right? What have we not seen in a Freddy movie before, right? What's something that you maybe think, well, okay, well, why hasn't this been in the series? And that's a baby, right? So this is a baby, right? And then, the babies fall asleep, when are babies asleep? Right. But, they have to sometimes. And then, he dreams about Freddy. Baby Freddy's got like little baby babas up in there. And this is the whole thing. You think, oh, no, oh my gosh, this baby's in danger. This baby's going to get absolutely destroyed and slaughtered by Freddy, shredded up into tiny little pieces. The funny thing is, baby's mind is actually so vibrant and imaginative that he's able to like counteract Freddy's things. Baby doesn't know what's going on. He's not afraid of Freddy. Right, so he starts like throwing him around. Yeah, puts a pinky in his mouth, starts rolls him into a little ball, and then Freddy's like, baby, and then the baby's like, roll him into a little ball, bouncing it. He's like licking Freddy all around. Freddy's like, no, don't lick me, no, lick me. Oh no, but he's like, don't lick me. So I think the baby angle is kind of a neat thing here. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. So the whole premise of this new remake is that you can do like a dream transfer. So think like Dropbox, but for dreams, right? Where people can transfer Freddy to like other people's dreams, right? That's going to be the whole thing. I don't know if maybe you take like ashwagandha or something, you can, access these hidden powers. But they're going to put Freddy into a baby, right? And then that's why it's just going to be a dream. Kind of a comedic spin on things. Next one, of course, Monk. Now, you probably all saw this coming. Monk is he has access to or she, or whomever, has access to a kind of like spiritual realm, a higher level of thinking, kind of an enlightened state. And, so that means when they're dreaming or, meditating, whatever, they're actually able to, again, much like the baby. So there's Freddy shows up. He's like, oh, Monk, you look tired, right? But then he doesn't realize that the Monk is actually he has these perceptions, he's able to access the subconscious and kind of fight Freddy off. It's like an intense match. Like we're talking like UFC kind of MMA style Freddy at this point. Also something we've never seen before. So, so this Monk is really putting up a good fight, but maybe, we'll see. Maybe Freddy, he wins or he doesn't. He just kind of disappears. Or maybe he's like, I've seen all their attacks and now I'm enlightened. And it becomes like sort of this like Buddha-esque statue, right? With the claw, like it has a million claws behind him, and then he shreds the Monk. But I don't know. Well, I'm kind of still workshopping that. So finally, I have kind of this new one, which I haven't seen. It's kind of a simple one, kind of like a Jason Takes Manhattan situation, but Freddy on a boat, right? So we have kind of like a boat captain. Freddy shows up, maybe he's got like hooks on his hands, right? And then he's like, boat captain, maybe he's on a cruise. You know what I mean? Boat captain falls asleep. I had a couple drinks of champagne from the buffet. These cruises are so boring, right? And then Freddy, he kind of like, when he comes back in the dream, he's like, he's like, man overboard. He takes his hooks into him. There's a fishing line. Attaches the captain to the fishing line. Puts him out to sea. Puts him behind the ship. Oh, whoa! This one's this one's gonna be a beaut, right? And then he puts him behind the rudder of the boat, and he of course explodes into a million pieces. The cruise ship blows up or whatever. This is kind of like maybe like the first kill or something, That guy could be, yeah. He's got the boat. He's got the, all aboard, right? Train, actually, that could be good. So, and then of course we get to the ending, right? What's the future? What's the sequel potential here? What's the ending? And I think so. My kind of first idea would be we put Freddy into a coma patient. So maybe there's like someone who used to fight Freddy, right? We get back Heather Langenkamp from the first movie. She's elderly, has dementia, no longer able to do anything. She's in a coma. She's in a coma, right? But she can still kind of communicate through dreams. Like she's sending a little like subconscious message to these characters, the Stranger Things crew or whatever, these modern teens who nobody cares. She's like, I can help you. And then they're like, we don't want to do this, but she's like, I can handle it. Right. So then they transfer Freddy to her and he's just stuck there because she's in a coma. Right. So he's like, coma. No, I can't do anything. Like she's right in front of him, maybe like a Malignant, at the end of Malignant. He's like, I've got you now, Nancy. He goes for that. And then it's just nothing. He's no claws, no nothing. He's like in a padded room, basically. Think of it. He's like trapped. She's like, I am not here anymore, Freddy. He's like stuck there. And then that's kind of where we leave it. Of course, in the sequel, he breaks out somehow. Or this is a big one. This is maybe a little controversial here, but I was thinking, we get kind of like you remember the Philip K. Dick book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Well, they do, but it's not sheep, it's Freddy, right? So we put Freddy into an AI. Think about that. I was thinking, maybe like Megan meets Nightmare on Elm Street, or like your Google Home and Alexa robot situation. Is like one of the compatriots of the main characters, the rich guy, the rich snooty guy's got this AI butler. And then the end of the movie, they're like, we can't escape Freddy. He's getting into our dreams. What do we got to do? We can't do anything. We don't know what to do. AI butler shows up. He's like, master, I believe I have a solution. And, they get Freddy, of course, into his dream. Somehow they transfer him through the dream, kind of like maybe like a USB drive or something. And then Freddy's stuck in there. He's like, I don't know what to make of this code. You know what I mean? JavaScript. And then the AI is like, you are in my neural network system, Freddy. And then he's like, virus deleted. And then he's like, Freddy's like this little pixelated thing. That's how we do it to visualize it. He's like, no, game over, right? So that's kind of what I was thinking for the ending. And then, basically, either way, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds here. You're getting kind of the memeability, right? It's topical again, like I mentioned. It's modern, right? We'll get these kids, quipping around, 6'7", or like Freddy. Maybe he's like, he shows up at like a hot dog stand, and they're like, I'd like a hot dog with mustard. Freddy's like, they're like, Freddy, you're so corny and silly. You're just like one of those horror villains. And he's like, oh, I'm not like them. And then, he kills them or whatever. So yeah, if anyone in Hollywood has seen this pitch and is kind of interested, excited about these ideas, feel free to reach out. And, I'll include my email in the YouTube channel description at this point. But yeah, I think that's kind of some of my ideas for the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. So, no copyright, of course. Anyone's feel free to take these and improve upon them. Just please be sure to credit. And just, food for thought.